Hello, everyone. My name is Esteban Baez, and I'm here with Seven Figure Agency. And today I'm interviewing Tony Ricketts. Tony, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we want to get your story. How did you get into digital marketing?
For me, it goes way back. When I was a kid, 10 years old, is when I actually wrote my first website code. So my father was a web designer in the early to mid 90s, kind of taught me some of the basic things.
Okay.
And that's when I first got into it. I really loved the coding aspect of building websites.
So coding was...
Coding, yeah, coding was it. And I did it going through high school. After I graduated high school, I went to college for deeper programming, coding, software engineering.
Yeah.
And it was after I got out of college, I went and worked for a few years in the marketing side, got introduced to the marketing world. I was building websites for a marketing agency.
Really? This was in college?
While I was in college and shortly after college.
What college did you go to?
It was just a small Southwest Florida college down in Fort Myers, Florida.
Fort Myers, okay.
Yep. And at the time, and it's web design and marketing, maybe more marketing, but web design and coding is not a really highly offered program in a lot of colleges, right?
Right, yeah.
So this was the only college in the area that even had a web design and programming program within their college. So that's why I went there, is really the only option.
Right.
So for the first part of being in college, I worked in a lawn and landscape company.
Yeah.
The second half of college and the few years afterwards, I worked for marketing agencies. And after a few years in the marketing agencies, I decided to go out on my own.
Okay.
And I was kind of a mix between a software SaaS company, web design company, marketing agency. It's kind of a mess, kind of a generalist of all various services in all different industries.
Right.
And I did that for a while, like 9 years, before I realized that I needed to focus on singular things. So I chose marketing because I enjoyed the marketing side a little bit more. Frankly, it's easier to scale than the software development side is, as far as people and repetitiveness, just overall general scalability. So I decided to go with that route. Then I also decided I needed to focus on one individual niche, which at the time I actually chose real estate.
Real estate?
Real estate,
Out of all the niches, they say that that's one of the toughest ones.
It was tough. It was very tough. One of the problems that we found is we were only in it for about 6 months.
Okay.
We sold probably about a dozen clients, but one of the problems was churn in that industry.
Yeah.
And the biggest reason for the churn was that it takes real estate agents a lot of time to see an ROI.
Right.
So you get them leads today, and it could be 6 months or a year before they ever see any money come out of that lead.
That's right.
So that's when I decided to make the change over to a different niche that had different parameters to it, such as they could get a fast ROI on the leads that we're generating them. I wanted one that I knew a little bit about, which I worked in for a lawn and landscape company for about 2 years while I was in college.
Okay.
I wanted one where there wasn't a lot of competition, could help guide me to the places that I need to be. And one of the big wake-up calls for me was I came in already doing about $20,000 a month in reoccurring revenue. And I felt like I had been in this industry for a long time. I knew a lot about it.
Yes.
And I'm sitting with all these other people that are running circles around me.
Okay.
You know, and it's like, what in the world am I doing wrong? I thought I was doing okay.
Yeah. They were doing more revenue.
They were doing way more revenue, way more than okay. And I'm sitting here like, man, you know, some of these guys, they were police officers 2 years ago, or they were in the real estate market flipping houses, you know, just a couple of years ago. And today they're operating $1 million marketing agencies. Okay. And it's like, I've been in this shit my whole life. How are they running circles around me?
Right.
And so that's when I decided that whatever they're doing must be working.
Something needed to change.
And something had to change. That's right. And that's when I adopted Josh's principles.
Okay.
I petition at the time. There is now, but there wasn't at the time.
Yeah.
When I first got into lawn and landscape, there wasn't a lot of competition.
Really?
And the market's huge. There's 600,000 lawn and landscape companies between the U.S. and Canada. So that's why I decided to go to that route. But the biggest thing was that I could get them an ROI right away. So we can generate a lead today, and they can measure a property online, give them a price, collect a credit card over the phone, and they're putting money in the bank the next day.
It was a faster cycle.
Much faster buying cycle for them, yes.
That's awesome.
So we went all in on lawn and landscape. just 6 months or so after failing in the real estate side, and that's where it started to grow from.
Okay. Now, you chose the niche before meeting Josh Nelson and Seven Figure Agency?
That's correct.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I chose the niche in June of 2016.
Okay.
And I believe I joined Seven Figure Agency. It was either 2019 or 2020. I don't remember which year it was, but it was 2019 or 2020.
So tell us the story, how you came across Josh Nelson and Seven Figure Agency.
Yeah, probably pretty similar to how a lot of other people did. I was looking at various Facebook groups for marketing agency owners, right? I didn't have the support system, the network, the community that you really need to help grow and lean on and ask advice and tips and things like that. So I found this free group that he offered, and I was in there for a few years. And Josh consistently invited me down to the members only event as his guest to come check it out. And I turned him down numerous times. You know, I'm not interested. I don't know what you've got going on over here. I'd never been in any kind of coaching program before.
Yeah.
I had never been in any kind of mastermind. So I didn't even really know what it was, what to expect or anything like that. I just, I was neck deep in my agency, and taking a week down to Miami just really wasn't in the cards. You know what I mean?
Right.
And after probably the third or fourth invite that he gave me, my wife told me, she's like, why don't you just go? Right? We're in Tampa. It's in Miami. It's 3.5, 4 hours to drive there. Why don't you just go?
Yeah.
So I said, all right, screw it. I'll do it.
Did it.
I did it. So I came down here, and the group was much smaller than it is now. I think there's only like 30 to 50 people in the very first live intensive that I came to as Josh's guest.
Wow.
And I sat down in the room, and I realized what it was. And that it was really everything I was looking for. It was that community of people that are on the same path that I'm on. I sat down with Josh and had lunch with him, and I signed up for the group before I even left. I said, you know, here's my credit card, take my money situation.
So, yeah, you were like, I'm ready.
I'm ready to go. And I dove in. And one of the things that Josh said to me was that we're going to get you out of project work. And I fought him on that. At the first day, I fought him. I said, absolutely not. I make so much of my revenue from projects. The name of my company was actually Lawnline Websites. Right. So we did a lot of website project work. He's like, we're going to get you out of that. You're going to focus just on recurring revenue. And I was like, no way. That's never going to happen. And by the time I went back home at the end of that week, I went to my team and said, guys, we're cutting off half our revenue. We're not doing projects anymore.
Wow.
We're going to do whatever these guys are doing because it seems to be working. And it was only 4 or 5 months, and we had replaced all of that revenue that we lost from project work with the recurring revenue, and then just started scaling from there. I mean, we joined in 2019 or 2020 at 20K in MRR. Yeah. And 12 months later, I believe we had jumped up to around 60 to 80K MRR, and then jumped to 180K MRR right after that, the year after, and then up to 300K MRR right away. Now, don't get me wrong, we fell and broke the agency many times doing all of that.
Right.
But that's kind of how I came about to know Josh. Was he kept inviting me to these member-only intensives as a guest just to check it all out. And I wish I would have done it the first time that he invited me, you know, a year prior, because I could have been a little bit further along than I am now.
Wow. That's a very powerful story. Thank you for sharing and revealing so many details that a lot of people don't hear.
No, they don't. I mean, a lot of times, and I say this all the time, they look at people in this group, especially ones like me that have scaled to these higher levels, and they think it's all, you know, like rainbows and unicorns, and it's not, right? I think I said yesterday, or on Tuesday when I received my award, that our problems don't get easier, they just get more complex.
Right.
But you have this entire community of people around you, this network that's gone through these similar types of problems, that are on the exact same path as you are, and can give you a lot of good insights on how you can move to that next level and get over these problems. And that's really what, for me, what Seven Figure Agency is all about. I say all the time, the sessions are great. Don't get me wrong, there's always nuggets in the sessions.
Yeah. But
being able to have that community of people around you to help really look at your business from a different angle, from their perspective, right? From the outside, and give you these ideas from people who's already been there and done it. right? That's where the real powerful value comes from in this group.
Right. Do you believe that if you didn't join the community, you would be where you are today?
Oh, absolutely. I attribute so much of my success to this community. When I received that award, I think you may have heard me say it took me 14 years to do $1 million in revenue.
Yeah.
Right? Because I spent the first 9 years, as I told you, as a generalist agency. It took me 14 years from the time I started my first business to do $1 million a year in revenue. My next year, I did 2 million. My next year, I did 3 million.
Then it got a bit easier.
It's so much easier. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, once you have the map, the road plan on what to do, what works, it becomes so much easier. Right now, are the things I'm doing today going to be what's going to get me to 10 million a year or into 20 million a year? Probably not. You know, but as I grow and as we all grow together, you know, we're understanding what that looks like and what that takes. As we saw, some agencies are now getting close to and hitting that 8-figure mark.
Right.
And those are the guys that we'll lean on as we start to approach those levels to help get over the obstacles that we'll face as we start hitting 5 million, 7 million, 10 million, etc.
So community is everything.
Community is everything. Exactly. I mean, you don't have to blaze the trail for everything yourself, right? Lean on people who have already done it, and those people are right here in this community.
Love it. What would you say to someone that's thinking about becoming a member? They're still on the fence. What is the number one thing for you that they should really think about?
Well, you got to really think, what are the hesitations that you have, right? Is it the money that you're going to put in? A lot of times that is the hesitation, right? When I first saw the price tag, I was like, man, I don't know if this is going to be worth it at first. Is it that you feel you don't have the time to be able to dedicate to it, right? Those are really the two big things, the money and time. And I would say that think of all the stuff that you've spent time and money on across your agency's life. You probably have wasted far more than what this group will require out of you in order to join. But the return that you're going to get from joining this group is astronomical. Like, it's almost impossible for you to join this group and even apply 10% of effort and not make huge strides from where you are today.
I love that.
You don't have to do everything, and it will absolutely be one of the best investments you'll ever make.
Thank you, Tony. I got one last question for you. What are you passionate about other than your business when you're not working and making money?
Right.
What do you love to do with your time?
So for me, it's really spending the time with my family. I've got a 2-year-old son and my wife. Spending time with them is everything outside of the business, right? That's the whole reason I do what I do, is so that I can have not only the financial freedom, but the time freedom to be able to do things with them. So my business and businesses that I'm investing in, those are my hobbies. That's what I enjoy to do.
Okay.
But when it's outside of the business and entrepreneurial work, it's spending time with my family, right? Okay. And improving on myself and my knowledge and where the market and industry is going. See, I'm still a big tech nerd, right? Even though I run my agency, you know, like AI is a big thing right now, as we all know. Like, I love the AI stuff. So I still attribute that to my businesses and the entrepreneurship and stuff like that. But diving in deep to the AI stuff and just getting a better understanding of it and how we can implement it into the agency, I love those things.
So you love technology.
I love technology. So I guess you could say that would be one of my hobbies as well. But I only look at the technology in ways that I can fast track my agencies and my business and stuff like that. But my family, spending time with them is my big thing.
That's good. What's like your favorite thing to do with your family when you guys hang out together?
Vacation. I love to travel.
What's the favorite spot?
So if it's just me and my wife, it's definitely Las Vegas. We love Las Vegas.
Okay.
If we're with the baby, we like to do things like Orlando. Right now, he's only just over 2. So like going to Orlando, we live in Tampa. So Orlando's a real nice, quick, easy getaway. Also taking him back home, back to Indiana, where I'm originally from, so that you can see some of our other family and things like that. But definitely traveling, right? And that's one of the beautiful things about owning an agency that is growing and profitable and provides those time and financial freedoms for you, is that you can spend some of that money and some of that time traveling and deepening your relationships with your family and things like that.
I love it. Tony, thank you so much for doing this interview with me today. This was great. I really enjoyed it. And thank you for everything you shared.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.